No, no.
No.
I just want to give you a big slobbery virtual kiss.
Oh.
I can't tell you how excited I am about your system. I can't tell you how much it's meant for me. I made $23,000 in about a month's time with your system. I do not have one single position that I've lost money on.
Oh, you're too
I am
nice.
just stunned. I am a moon lover.
It is now time for The Trader's Edge with your host, Steve Rhodes.
11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Silk. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Now, Steve Rhodes.
Good morning, traders. Hi, folks. This is Steve Rhodes, and welcome to the Trader's Edge. Thanks so much for joining us. Folks, I'm coming to you live from the TFNN radio and television network. What I want you to do, if you're sitting at your desktop computer, I'd like you to go to the TFNN homepage, and on the third tab, you will see TigerTV. I want you to watch the show on TigerTV. Visually, about 70% of people learn visually. And so what you're able to do on TigerTV is you're able to follow along on the charts that we take a look at. And even if you don't know anything about charting, my promise is to be able to teach you something that you can see in a chart so that when you pick up maybe the Wall Street Journal, or better yet, Investors Business Daily, one of the greatest newspapers out there, if you want to start taking action to really understanding your investments, maybe how to manage money, how to accumulate wealth, and how to read a chart, because this is reality TV. The charts that you take a look at, folks, absolute reality TV. You can turn off all of the news media. You don't have to watch what's going on CNBC, listen to whatever's being pumped out on CNN, ABC, you name it. All you have to, on the radio, all you have to really do is take a look at the chart, and between volume, price, patterns, non-random patterns that will show you, folks, we can teach you a ton. So please go to Tiger TV and watch this show live. Now, I absolutely love doing this. This is my favorite time of the day, is being able to, and this is an easy day. This is just 2 hours. In fact, we've got a great lineup for you today. Wednesday is absolutely just a fantastic lineup because following this show, you've got Tom and I, we do the Money Masters, then you've got Basil Chapman in the on-deck circle, then Larry Pesavento will come on board, and then David White and Tom will take us home from 4 to 6. So absolutely a great day of programming here at TFNN. Now, last week, what we talked a lot about was, and this week we've talked about how visualization and how painting a picture when you get up in the morning, how important it is to be able to paint a picture of what it is that you want your day to look like. I talk about being able to paint a picture of what your future looks like. And the part of it, as I thought about it over the weekend, was that what I wasn't doing, I wasn't really helping you, guiding you to make sure that you were putting yourself into that picture, because and then the question really becomes is what type of character is it that you have, and so much of that was brought to my light when I was remembering back to September 11th and the impact that it had on me. But more important than September 11th was really September 12th and what I did and what the others that were around me, because we were in the theme park business back then, and it had a real devastating impact, total change. And I had quite a few employees, and the question was, how was it that we were going to deal through September 12th, 13th, 14th, and continuing on? But that's not so important. What I want you to do, and what I want you to understand, is it's how you pick yourself up. It is not how you fall that's important. And that's what was so great, in my opinion, about this country, because we all came together. Even today, 10 years ago, we were all driving around with flags on our cars. At least I was, and pretty much everybody else that I knew was as well. I mean, that was a great time to be in the flag business, because there were flags everywhere. And that type of patriotism, that's what this country is all about. That's what we have our children overseas, fighting for his brothers, sisters, fathers, whatever it is, overseas, really trying to defend this great land. And folks, what's important for us to do is to be president today and to do everything that we can to help ourselves out, our children out, our relatives out, our friends, our family. And that's really what it's all about here at TFNN. So it's really all about character. But before I really, and character, folks, it's, all you have to really do is take a look at how is it that you take a look at winning and losing. How is it that you deal with life? Because, what really builds character can be adversity, can be success. And the question is, how do you handle adversity? And when I was thinking about that, when I was thinking about the character aspect overnight, the real question, and something that I really sort of posed yesterday, but the question in my mind was, why aren't more people wealthy in this country? Why aren't more people wealthy? Why aren't you more wealthy than you are right now? Look, I don't know if it's specifically you, but when you think about why aren't people wealthy, I came up with 5 or 6 reasons, and see if this makes sense to you. You know, most times, people really don't define wealth. So yesterday, what I did, so the key word there being defined. Yesterday, what I was suggesting to you is that what I can teach you to do here, what I can teach you to do is I can teach you how to obtain financial independence, if you will. And to me, financial independence is when you've got your money off to the side that's working for you, that you've put to work, and it can spin off enough cash on a monthly basis to take care of whatever your monthly overhead expenses are. When you do that, folks, you've got financial independence, financial freedom, and that absolutely can be attained. But most folks never really define what wealth is. So I just gave you what I think should be your first definition for defining wealth. People many times make wealth a moving target. So it's nothing that's fixed. So when I was thinking about that and thinking about what I just said, that doesn't become a moving target unless you're going to just continue to increase your monthly expenses. But you can pretty much sit down, figure out what your monthly overhead is between your food, your energy, your housing, between your entertainment. You pretty much can come up with a nut of what that is. And then it becomes pretty easy. How much do I have? So you know what you've got to generate on a monthly basis. Then it's a matter of taking your working capital off to the side here and then figuring out ways to be able to spend money off of that. And we're going to teach you those things. We're going to teach you how to overcome the fears. We're going to teach you the character that you need to overcome that adversity. You know, and whether it's by following systems or approaches that I use, whether it's approaches that Tom, Basil, Larry, you know, Ken Shreve, David White, we're all here to help you attain that financial independence, that financial freedom. But you've got to define it, and you can't make it a moving target. Now, sometimes people define it in a way where they feel like it's impossible to achieve. I would hope that by defining it with it being your monthly expenses, because it's nothing extravagant, if you will. Not maybe you live an extravagant life, if you will, but still that's not overboard where it's like you're driving by and you say, hey, you know, I need to own that building, if you will, that 10-story building or what have you. You know, and so what we want you to do, what I want you to do, is I want you to define it in a way that you feel is possible to achieve. Hey, if you don't feel that it's possible to achieve even covering your total monthly expenses, why don't we just start with maybe your house payment? Or maybe, you know, some figure, but define it in some way, something that's very tangible that you believe is achievable. You know, there's nothing worse than somebody having a conversation with you, which is, you know, what I'm doing here. And you can have a conversation with me. All you have to do is give me a call at 877-927-6648. Now, all that you know, we're having this conversation. There's nothing worse than trying to inspire somebody by giving them something that they don't believe that they can achieve. So make that target, whatever it is, whether it's your monthly expenses or maybe it's a car payment, maybe it's a house payment, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our money, our capital over here, and you're going to use some of our systems, because you can try our systems out for free for a couple weeks. You can try mine out with a money-back guarantee for 30 days, so there's no risk. It's easy for you to start testing this out and helping to make your money work for you. And then when you can believe it, folks, when you can believe it, you can achieve it. And when you start to believe it, then you're going to do the next element that's so important. You're going to make it an absolute must. See, most folks, when it comes to wealth, they don't make it an absolute must. You know, you might make waking up in the morning an absolute must. I hope you do, and then you're joining us. Maybe even make an absolute must listening to this show or one of the other shows or catching the archive. You know, what I want you to do is I want you to make wealth an absolute must. I want you to make attaining financial independence, financial freedom, I want you to make that an absolute must. I want you to make figuring out ways, learning ways to be able to put your money to work for you so it starts spinning off capital to start paying for that. Make that an absolute must, because when you understand that potential, folks, you will take massive action. And that's really what it's all about. And the whole key here is to have a realistic plan. So just step back, take a look at it, think about it during your day today. What is it that you need to do to attain absolute wealth? Is it a car payment? Is it a house payment? Is it just simply your monthly expenses? And then continue to take some massive action to put that money to work. Now, we're going to teach you how to do that. You know, we've got these markets, and in these volatile markets, you know, are probably the best times when you can actually make money. Because if you just had a market that was real slow, it would kind of be boring. Well, let me tell you. We've got, you know, there's no boring market that we've got here. You know, in overnight hours, right now, today, the Dow has already swung probably 200 points or so. I don't have the exact number, but I know it was down 150 or something like that in overnight trading. It was up 70, 80. So, you know, we've already had a couple hundred-point swing. That shouldn't scare you. That's fear. That's false evidence appearing real. You know, what we can do is we can teach you the patterns that are out there. We can teach you how to trade these vehicles. We can teach you how to properly take risk. And that's really what it's all about. And what most folks really don't understand is that power of 1%, how just only risking 1% of your capital can provide you with significant returns. So I want to be able to teach you that. I've got a webcast over on Channel 5. Go to the archives there. It's a 30-minute webinar. It'll help to teach you about the power of 1. Plus, listen in here. If you got a question, send me an email at steve@tfn.com. I'm happy to get back to you. I get back to everybody within 24 hours. So, you know, let's go. You know, we've got a couple minutes here before we go into break. And so I want you to be picturing how, you know, what wealth means to you. I want you to define it, folks, because don't make it a moving target. And then let's start attacking it. Let's start making you feel, let's start achieving your financial independence for you. So if we take a look at these markets, right now we've got the Dow futures are up 54, the NASDAQ futures are up 14, and the S&P futures are up 6. Now, what I've got on my screen here is the DAX. Now, the DAX has pretty much let us down. So if you're taking a look at the DAX here, we've got a pretty strong candle today. And by candle, folks, really I'm talking about there's different ways when you're taking a look at charts. There's different, you know, stick figures, if you will, that you can put up here. And this looks like candles. I like to use candles. They're very visual. If learning is visual, it's very visual. You can take a look at it. I make mine green and red. Green means it's a positive day, which means that maybe in this case here you opened at the low body, if you will. That's that green line that we've got. And the high, you can see now the high in the DAX is really the wick. It's that top. So the high of the DAX today is 53.28. Where we opened was we opened at the lows basically at 51.05, 51.08 area. There's a small little wick down there, and you can see that, you know, there's some real momentum when what we're going to be looking for. The DAX closes at 11:30. And if it closes, you know, anywhere near this range, that means it's closing near the top of the range. And that's really what it is that we want to be able to see going on in our marketplace today. So when we take a look at the indexes or any of the ETFs, you want to be seeing your, you know, what it is that you follow. You want to be able to see that closing towards the top of the range, if you will, towards the highs. And certainly in the DAX here, which has been the weak link, and in a market where you're playing a bounce, folks, what you really want to do is you want to understand what the weak players are doing out there. So when it comes to worldwide markets, it's what's going on in Germany that has been the weakness. And right now, today, we're seeing strength. So I expect to see some strength in our marketplace as well. Anyways, 877-927-6648. Give me a call, folks.
Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
X-Story Gold Mines, an NYSE Amex-listed company trading under the symbol XG, is slated to be the newest gold-silver producer in Argentina. X-Story is forecast to produce more than $250 million in bullion annually, beginning in 2013, at a cash cost of less than $200 for each ounce of gold produced. That forecast will make X-Story one of the highest margin operators in South America and a sector leader in the mining industry. X-Story has $50 million in its treasury, having spent over $60 million to date on drilling and engineering. The ultimate size of its Argentina discovery could be determined by year-end, as results from the 6 drills operating at the site are fully assessed. To find out more about X-Story Gold Mines and their exciting growth potential, click on their banner on the front page of TFNN.com or check them out on the NYSE Amex under the symbol XG.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today. Click Investments Newsletters and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
Looking some extra cash to help pay off some of your bills? Let Tiger Metal Exchange convert your unwanted jewelry to cash. We pay out 80% of the market price for gold. Our payouts are the highest in the industry, more than double our largest competitors. And we've created the safest, easiest, and most straightforward process for converting your jewelry to cash. Log on to TigerMetalExchange.com and get your free scale, your free eye loop, and get the cash you deserve now. We provide a free online calculator that converts your jewelry to cash at up-to-the-minute spot prices. We insure your items for up to $75,000 per shipment free of charge. We videotape the entire valuation process so that you can view it online. You can call us toll-free at 866-618-8888 or log on to TigerMetalExchange.com. Let Tiger Metal Exchange put more cash in your pocket without ever leaving the comfort of your home. Join the list of thousands of satisfied customers and go to TigerMetalExchange.com. It's the only click you need to make.
Would you like to discover the next great tech stock? David White, TFNN's technology guru, has just launched his new newsletter, The Technology Insider. In his newsletter, David will be looking for those shining stars that may turn into the next Apple, Microsoft, or Cisco. David combines his technology background as a software programmer with his market skills as a successful professional trader to give you this unique newsletter. We're on the verge of the next great tech run. With the Technology Insider, you'll be in front of the run-up and not lagging behind. David is developing a long-term investment portfolio, therefore we're only offering the Technology Insider as an annual subscription with a remarkable price of only $395. That's right, for a little over $1 a day, you'll receive the fundamental technology wisdom and technical trading skills of the Technology Insider David White. What are you waiting for? Go to the front of TFNN.com, click on the link on the front page, sign up for your 2-week free trial, and become a Technology Insider today.
TFNN introduces Tiger TV. Tiger TV brings you video content to help you succeed in the financial markets and beyond. Investors and traders can get in-depth information, news, commentary, and education for investing and trading equities, options, commodities, forex, futures, and more. Just go to TFNN.com and click Tiger TV and select your favorite channel from the carousel on the left. Grab a popcorn and get ready for Tiger TV, a great new service from TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Don't forget, you can test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at them stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
It absolutely is, folks. Welcome back, 877-927-6648, and thanks so much for joining us. Now, what I've got up on my screen right now is a dollar index. We've got about 6 minutes before the market opens here, and you can see that the dollar index has been pulling back. Right now it's trading at $77. In fact, if you take a look at the currency marketplace here, we can take a spin around the world, if you will, in currency, because really that's all, that's where it happens, and you want to be able to pay attention to what's going on currency-wise because, our markets are valued in dollars. In fact, if you take a look at what's really happened in our markets here, all we've done when we put all the stimulus money, when the Fed was out buying all this debt, all we did was we just reshuffled the deck. We just changed the Monopoly game. It was as if we had a Monopoly game and we had another Monopoly game that was kind of broken down, and we took the money from that Monopoly game, we brought it into this one, and so, by putting all this currency in the marketplace, that's one of the things that really has elevated price. That's why we saw the markets go up on light volume. The thing about volume is that when you fall, you're going to fall back to a volume area. You're going to fall back, and the reason why you're taking a look at volume bars, which is why we take a look at, where support or resistance might be, folks, is because, you and I, the shares that we end up buying, we're not going to have a substantial impact on those volume bars, but it's the institutions. It's the institutions that are in that are telling us whether they're buying, whether maybe they've been accumulated position, and then at the last minute they want to go out and take the rest of that position. And so you want to be able to take a look at those volume bars, because in that area where you see that volume bar, you should see some support. And if that support gets broken, the institution may be out. You can do some digging down into Yahoo Finance or maybe some other tools that you've got just to get a feel of what's going on in the marketplace. Now, here, if we're taking a look at the dollar index is, talked about a weak dollar. Well, the U.S. dollar is getting stronger. You know, it hit its lows. We probably have seen its lows back in the May 4th time frame. Now, the May 4th time frame was where we made our high in the U.S. marketplace. It was really May 2nd. So, you know, you can take a look at the correlation there between, if you will, the weak dollar and how the dollar has had a correlation to the value of our markets, the U.S. market, if you will. And so when we take a look at that, you know, that low that we made on the dollar May 4th, which was 72.86 on the U.S. dollar index, that's a real important low. And what you can see is we went sideways, really. We went sideways in a range, and we've broken out of that range, and we've done it on some conviction as well. And conviction just simply, folks, meaning that there's some volume behind the move. Now, in this case here, what we're looking for is we're looking for the dollar to pull back. The dollar, when things go up, it's like running a race here, and when you run a race, you know, you take in some water, you relax for a little bit, maybe you get ready for your next race. Well, that's really what's happening here in the market. It's what's happening here in the U.S. market and the dollar index. Well, you're going to pull back. The question is how much energy did you use during that first move, and what is your pullback? What is your contraction? And when we take a look at it in mathematical terms, folks, what we use is we go back to our man Fibonacci, and we take a look at three primary areas, 382, 618, and 786. The .382 retracement on the U.S. dollar index would take us back to the 7623 area. We're at 7699. If we move back, even though that doesn't sound like a lot, that would put a lot of juice into the marketplace. We've been moving back gradually. We have not been coming back with any kind of conviction at all. That means, you know, for any of you, any of us that are playing the bounce right now, because we're playing that full moon bounce. You got to love that full moon, folks, you know, and that's really how you overcome fear, by understanding probability management, which is what I spend my time doing. You know, I've got a background, if you will, as a bean counter and analytical type of an individual, and go back and take a look at patterns that are forming just simply to put the probability on our side. Because even though we're only risking 1% of our capital, maybe it's 2 or 3% because we've taken 2 or 3 trades here. But even though, you know, I still want to make sure that I've taken all of the precautions I can, that I've done what I can to put the probabilities on our side, and then we go ahead and we pull the trigger. And one of the things that we do, we certainly do in my newsletter service, is we buy into fear and we sell into euphoria. Right now, we haven't had much euphoria, so we're going to see what's happening today. You know, there's a glimmer of hope with the DAX being as strong as it is, and so we'll see how our U.S. markets fare. But what I'd also like to see is I'd like to see a little bit bigger pullback in the U.S. dollar. Now, if we go take a look at one ETF here before we go to break, we'll take a look at the small caps. The small caps here, folks, have been, you know, one of our weaker indexes here, and that's the IWM that I'm taking a look at on our chart. Now, yesterday in the IWM, the volume that we had was 74 million shares, and we were going into the swing point from September the 8th. You had 71 million shares, so you're coming in there with slightly higher volume. That's a good sign. That means we should attack the high of that. That would say in the small caps, what we should see is 71.30. Now, what we do is we want to go all the way over to the higher volume bar that we've got on August 9th. The high there was 69.62. We're at 69.18 right now, and we want to see us get above that, close above that, so we can start going attacking and making some ABC ups in this market. 877-927-6648. Would love to hear from you. Give me a call, folks.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. If you want to get great trade setups in equity as well as the option market, come over to TFNN.com and test drive my daily newsletter, Market Insights, for 2 weeks absolutely free. Each trade setup comes with a profit projection as well as stop placement. Included in Market Insights is a Twitter alert service. This allows you to take advantage of intraday setups. Volatility is back in the markets. What does that mean to you? To me, it spells short-term opportunity each and every day. The days of trending up on lighter volume are gone. We have come off the highs with volume across the globe. Don't get caught in a complacency trap. Many of the indices have given back 2 months of trading in 1 week. We have a trader's market. You can take advantage of this trader's market by test driving my daily newsletter, Market Insights, free for 2 weeks. Market Insights will give you the edge you're looking for in the markets. Go to TFNN.com, under newsletter, hit the Market Insight tab for your 2-week free test drive right here, right now.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, gives traders, investors, and money managers a thorough strategy for trading the gold market. If you're an investor in gold or any of the gold mining equities, this newsletter is an essential tool that can help you become a better trader in the gold market. The Gold Report comes out every Monday with complete coverage of the entire gold market, including the XAU, HUI, the dollar, the bond, the rand, more than 40 different mining equities, as well as some of the most popular precious metal ETFs, including the GDX and the SLV. For as low as $75 per month, you can gain access to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report that will help you take advantage of investment opportunities at the current historic gold price levels. To order your Gold Report today with a free 30-day trial subscription, log on to TFNN.com or call our office directly at 877-518-9190. Would you like to discover the next great tech stock? David White, TFNN's technology guru, has just launched his new newsletter, The Technology Insider. In his newsletter, David will be looking for those shining stars that may turn into the next Apple, Microsoft, or Cisco. David combines his technology background as a software programmer with his market skills as a successful professional trader to give you this unique newsletter. We're on the verge of the next great tech run. With the Technology Insider, you'll be in front of the run-up and not lagging behind. David is developing a long-term investment portfolio, therefore we're only offering the Technology Insider as an annual subscription with a remarkable price of only $395. That's right, for a little over $1 a day, you'll receive the fundamental technology wisdom and technical trading skills of the Technology Insider David White. What are you waiting for? Go to the front of TFNN.com, click on the link on the front page, sign up for your 2-week free trial, and become a Technology Insider today.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes a carefully selected portfolio can lower your volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and a Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angelo O'Brien, financial advisor and certified financial planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at them stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
Welcome back, folks. 877-927-6648. Again, thanks so much for joining me, and make sure you stay tuned. We got Tom and I and the Money Masters following this show, and we are off to the races. We've got the Dow up 56, the S&P's up 6, the composite up 19, the small caps up 6. Now, we were talking about the small caps, and I'm looking at the ETF that controls the small caps. That's the IWM, folks. So what I was saying just as we were going into break is what's really important here is the August 9th candle. And it's real important when we go take a look at any of the ETFs. That's when we had the big down day. That's where we've got some real big volume that we're going to have to break if we're going to break the lows of that. Now, right now, what we're looking for is we're looking for that bar to hold for us today as some type of support. Now, the high on that is 69.62. We opened above that. We're in our normal gap up, gap down mode, if you will. A lot of volatility. Where we finished yesterday, the high yesterday was 69.46. And right now we traded down to a low of 69.72. So we've got a little gap up there, if you will. And I expect that we'll see that gap stay in place. Now, when you take a look at the small caps, actually, You can see really right now what we're doing is we've just pretty much been going sideways. So let's go dig down in the small caps in the 10-minute chart and see what that is giving us some information there. And on the small caps on a 10-minute chart, you know, we're showing an AB equals CD pattern that would actually take the small caps up to the $70.86 area. Now, when we take a look at the small caps here on the 10-minute chart, folks, what I'm doing is I'm going back to 2:10 in the afternoon on September the 12th, and the low that we had there was 66.40. Now we moved, it was a $2.88 move all the way up into 10.40 on September the 13th. The high that we made there was, it looks like 69.28. Now the pullback that we had, and the market pulled back into the candle, pulled back into the low of 67.99. It did that at 11:30, so it looks like 10:30 and 11:30. Pretty important times to be paying attention to the small caps here. And the market was on September 13th. That was yesterday. When you take a look at that pullback from just that move up, folks, that was one of those retracements, you know, when you run the race, and that one was only a 0.382 retracement. It tells you that there's a potential powerful, you know, move underway here with only a shallow retracement like that. So, you know, we're going to have to watch that. We'll watch the volume that we've got in the marketplace. You know, right now, what's happening is the small caps are just pulling back just a little bit here, maybe going to be closing that gap. But what you're going to be paying attention to is that 70.86 area, that 71.05 area. As we come into that, if you're looking at a 10-minute chart, folks, what you're going to want to see when it gets in there, you're going to want to see it coming in with more than 1 million shares. 1 million shares, folks, where I'm going back on that is I'm going back into the 11:20, the 11:30 time frame on September the 8th and 9th. You had 838 and you had 900,000 shares, 999,000 shares trading. So you want to come into a swing point. And swing points, folks, what we're talking about as swing points is where you see a definite turn in the marketplace, either a turn up or down, something when you're taking a look at a chart where, you know, where it's visually you can see that turn. And those are areas there where you've had a market turn. And so when you've had a market turn, the information that's in there, the volume that's in there is really important, because that's when, you know, either the bulls took over or the bears took over. And it's kind of like the line in the sand. And what you want to see if you're trying to bust through that, you want to see, you know, more folks behind you that are pushing up if you're trying to bust through. Same thing if you're shipping down, if you're trying to move down. So those swing point areas really release a lot of information to us, and you can take a look, and it works whether you're looking at a 5-minute, 10-minute, 1-minute, 120-minute, a daily chart, and that's what you want to be looking at. So let's go to Stephen in New Jersey, who wants to look at the dollar index. Stephen, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for the show.
No problem. My pleasure.
The dollar index, a daily chart you just showed a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
I had a question about that.
Okay. I tell you what, we're going to go to break here. If you stay just through the break, when we come back, we'll go try to answer Stephen's question. And, folks, you can get in on the action, too. 877-927-6648. We'll be back in just a few.
Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today. Click Investments Newsletters and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
Studies show that 10,000 hours is what it takes to achieve outstanding results, unless you use the power of leverage. The power of leverage, folks, is key to attaining outstanding success in your trading and investing. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of the Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN.com, and author of Mastering Probability, a daily trading and investment newsletter. Let me take your trading to a new level, a whole new level. Let me teach you the secrets that the real Money Masters use each and every day to produce consistent financial results. On top of that, I'll transform your life in ways you never thought imaginable. You'll overcome hurdles like an Olympian. Here's the beauty. I'm so certain that I'll transform your life. I'm giving you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Time, folks, something you'll never get back. The time is now to take action. Go to the homepage of TFNN.com and order Mastering Probability. It'll change your life forever. At Tiger Metal Exchange, we pay you more for converting your jewelry to cash.
Let's go to Brian in New Jersey. Hey, Brian, what's going on?
Hey, Tom, I just want to let you know I did give you some jewelry. My jeweler offered me about $650, but you get a check in the mail tomorrow for about $1,200.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, it's all about honesty when converting your jewelry to cash.
Okay, let's go to Paul in Florida first. Hey, Paul, what's going on?
I want to commend you on the Tiger Metal Exchange. I just did a deal with you guys the other day.
Oh, good.
I'm very happy.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, did you sell us jewelry or did you buy coins off us?
Yeah, I sold you jewelry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What we weighted at was less than you guys said, so, you know, you're totally honest.
At Tiger Metal Exchange, we give you the tools to value your gold, and it's absolutely free. Call 866-618-8888 or log on to TigerMetalExchange.com. We've created the easiest, safest, and most honest cash for gold process. Tiger Metal Exchange. It's the only call you need to make.
TFNN introduces Tiger TV. Tiger TV brings you video content to help you succeed in the financial markets and beyond. Investors and traders can get in-depth information, news, commentary, and education for investing and trading equities, options, commodities, forex, futures, and more. Just go to TFNN.com and click Tiger TV and select your favorite channel from the carousel on the left. Grab a popcorn and get ready for Tiger TV, a great new service from TFNN.com. This segment is brought to you by South American Silver Corporation. For more information, just click the South American Silver Corporation banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at them stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
Welcome back, folks. 877-927-6648, and thanks so much for joining us. Now, before we went to break, we heard from Stephen in New Jersey. We're going to go to him in just a second. What we're talking about, what he wants to ask a question about is the U.S. dollar index. And really, folks, what the U.S. dollar index is really the strength of the dollar compared to a basket of currencies. And the currencies, you want to understand, approximately the primary currency that's inside the U.S. dollar index is the euro. It's about 58% or so. Then the next weighted currency in there is the Japanese yen. Then you've got the pound at about 11, 12%, the Canadian dollar at 9%, the Swedish krona, and the Swiss franc. So that's your basket of currencies, and it's really where the dollar is kind of measuring up against that. So, Stephen, thanks for holding. I appreciate it. And I've got the chart up on my screen. And how can I help you?
Okay, well, the May low that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then if you continue until the, I guess, July high, and you call that an AB, and then you go down to the low last month, and then the high a couple of days ago as a CD, that looks like a pretty equivalent ABCD. And as well as that ABCD seems to be kind of completing a Gartley if you go back to the January top.
Okay.
So is that not pretty close to a bearish Gartley?
So let me take a look at it. So you are right. It completed at 77.81, basically, approximately. You know, you're absolutely correct in that it created an ABC pattern. Now, one of the things that you want to take notice of, and I'll pull in the retracement level from that January 7th high. Looks like it was around 81.46 down to the low, and so absolutely, you know, it's very close to. Yes, it's a Gartley pattern. Absolutely, if you use that. Yes, it is.
So wouldn't that imply that maybe a larger decline is imminent?
Well, when you take a look at, so here's what you want to, here's what the Gartley patterns are really good at. Now, first, what I want you to do, because of the points that you picked out, if you take a look at the A to B angle, so on your formation tool that you might use to draw your ABs equal CD, one of the things that you want to take a look at is what is the angle of the up move on the CD move. And so when you take a look at this, you'll see that the angle on the C to D is much stronger than it was on the A to B. So what that's giving you is a word of caution, because, there's a couple different Gartley sell areas that you would have. One would be the 0.618, which you absolutely picked out, and the other would be the 0.786. So when I see an A to B equals C to D move here, where you've got a real strong up thrust on that C to D leg, to me, I get very cautious, if you will. Okay.
Okay, so you expect 127 then?
I do, but here's the thing. Even if it's not, what you can take a look at, what's very cool about the Gartley patterns, and when you've completed a D point, an A, B, C, D, typically you're going to do something else. But I just throw that out there as an area of caution for you to take a look at. And what you're going to look at, if you're going to look at a pullback here, what's cool about the Gartley patterns is when they do finish, it at least pulls back to the 0.382 area of that A to D point, Stephen. So in this case here, that would say it looks like that the dollar index would pull back into that $76 area, which I think is pretty much what I outlined, early on this morning. And so, which would only be a 0.382 area. Even if the dollar index pulls back into the $75 area, it's a normal place. So, sometimes the Gartley pattern sets up a new A to B equals C to D. In this case here, I don't think it does. I really think what it's doing, it's setting up a pullback, which is giving us a bounce in the marketplace. You kind of coincide that with the full moon, if you believe in the lunar trading strategy that's out there and the power of the full moon. And so for me, all of those pieces are coming together. But because of that big upthrust that we've had here, it's really important to pay attention to that move in that C to D leg, and also take a look at the wide range bars as you're coming into it.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, that's very good.
But really great, really great at identifying that Gartley pattern. And folks, at the end of this month, on September 28th at 3:30, Tom's going to be giving a course on the Gartleys and butterflies. So I think that's up on our website, and you can sign up for that. And Stephen, thanks so much for calling. Look forward to hearing from you again.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, have a great day, folks. And that's really great, folks, is that what Stephen picked out here, and what I was really trying to help you understand, is there are these non-random patterns that occur in the marketplace, and they really help you in your trading. And so Stephen was able to pick out an AB equals CD pattern, which you would see, and then he did that next most important thing, which was go up to the next highest swing point, which he identified in the January time frame in the dollar index, and then pull that all the way down to the low that we made, that May 4th low that we were talking about, and see what type of retracement. And so what he identified there was that 0.618 retracement, because markets that's how they breathe. They'll move up, like you're running a race, and then you'll start pulling back. And when you pull back, you're pulling back to either a 0.382 level, because there's basically 3 floors on the elevator that you're taking on the way down, if you will. And, so you're looking at 382, 618, 786 in this case here. One of the other things that, Stephen, that when you got to also take a look at the candles, and these candles are really helpful in understanding. I know that next Wednesday, Mike Comey is doing a webinar at 7:30 on candle formations, and I always pay attention to the candles as well. Not only just the angle at which the upthrust you've got on your C to D move and the strength or weakness of that, but also the candles. And so what you can look at here, Stephen, on the way down, and I was trying to allude to this morning, on the way down, folks, is that the candles on the way down are really narrow. You've got some really small bodies. Today, almost looks like the day's not over, so we won't talk about today's candle. But you can see that the bears, if you will, in the U.S. dollar have got some control. But until you can see it's going against this big upthrust candle here from September the 9th. I love September the 9th. That's my birthday. And so you can see you had a nice big upthrust there, folks, and the candle's coming back. If your candles, as you're coming back in that 0.382 area, that also helps me to confirm that, yes, Stephen, you're going to do maybe a 1 to 1.272 extension of the A to B equals C to D pattern. And Mike's webinar, I apologize, is at 6:30 next Wednesday, and you can go over to Tiger University to sign up for it. And you really want to understand, the candles, no matter what level of trading skill that you're at. If you're just learning, it's really a great way to try to understand what the market is communicating, because the market's communicating information to us all the time. You don't actually have to pay attention to the fear that's being pushed out there in the marketplace. You can take a look at what's really going on. You can take a look at what's going on around the world. We have so many tools, and one of those tools is me, folks. So 877-927-6648, and give me a call. We're going into our last break, and we'll be right back.
Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
If you're in the market for a jumbo preferred non-conforming loan anywhere from $417,000 all the way up to $3 million, and you have a FICO of at least 720, then EverBank is your answer. As a direct lender with processing, underwriting, and funding all under one roof, EverBank can offer the most competitive rates, greater efficiency, and shorter closing times. Now is the time to act. Everbank offers fixed terms of 10 and 15 years, as well as adjustable terms of 5, 7, and 10 years, including interest-only options on primary residences. For more information, call Everbank today at 877-471-5970 to talk with a member of their concierge team that will walk you through the variety of loans they offer. That's 877-471-5970, and let them know you heard this offer on TFNN. Everbank, 877-471-5970, 877-471-5970. Would you like to discover the next great tech stock? David White, TFNN's technology guru, has just launched his new newsletter, The Technology Insider. In his newsletter, David will be looking for those shining stars that may turn into the next Apple, Microsoft, or Cisco. David combines his technology background as a software programmer with his market skills as a successful professional trader to give you this unique newsletter. We're on the verge of the next great tech run. With the Technology Insider, you'll be in front of the run-up and not lagging behind. David is developing a long-term investment portfolio, therefore we're only offering the Technology Insider as an annual subscription with a remarkable price of only $395. That's right, for a little over $1 a day, you'll receive the fundamental technology wisdom and technical trading skills of the Technology Insider David White. What are you waiting for? Go to the front of TFNN.com, click on the link on the front page, sign up for your 2-week free trial, and become a Technology Insider today.
Put the power of the Chapman Wave methodology to work for you. No matter what market you trade, what time frame you trade in, or your trading style, the Opening Call, Basil Chapman's daily market newsletter, is bursting with the information and trades you need to become a more successful trader.
I've been using Basil Chapman's Chapman Wave methodology for several years now. His Chapman Wave can be used for any time period for not only equities, but futures, currencies, commodities. I've been also a subscriber of his Opening Call, which I find an invaluable tool to help me analyze the potential of the market each day. He gives you opportunities to go short and long. It includes recommendations on stocks. I strongly recommend people using the Chapman Wave, and I very, very strongly support the use of his Opening Call.
To find out more about Basil Chapman and his Chapman Wave methodology, and to get your 2-week free trial of the Opening Call, a $64 value, visit TFNN.com today.
Great Basin Gold is a mining company engaged in the exploration and development of 2 emerging gold properties in Nevada and South Africa with a total resource base of more than 23 million gold ounces. Great Basin's Burnstone mine in South Africa opened in February of this year with a resource of 20 million gold ounces, becoming the first mine to open in the historic Witwatersrand Basin in the last 30 years. The Burnstone mine is projected to have a 25-year mine life and is fully financed, with production anticipated to be over 250,000 ounces per year at a cash cost of only $450 per ounce. The Hollister mine in Nevada became fully integrated in the 4th quarter of 2010 with annual production estimates of 110,000 ounces of gold per year over the 8-year mine life at a cash cost of only $527 per ounce. Great Basin Gold is cash flow positive and trades on the Toronto and New York stock exchanges under the symbol GBG.
Hi folks, this is Tom O'Brien. My new book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, is for sale at Amazon.com for only $18.40.
It's always better when we're together. Yeah, we'll look at them stars when we're together. Well, it's always better when we're together. Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
Welcome back, folks. 877-927-6648. Thanks so much for joining me. Now, folks, on Tiger TV, you got to turn to Tiger TV. What I've got here is really such an important chart that I'm going to be sharing with you. And this, folks, is the NYSE. And this is a chart, we just had Stephen call, and we was talking about a Gartley pattern. This one here shows 2 real important patterns, shows a butterfly pattern and a Gartley pattern. And again, Tom's going to be teaching a webinar on that coming up at the end of the month. Now, this is really important. There's a couple things. There's 3 things here that I want to show to you. Number 1, these are the highs here. This area here in October of 07, the highs in the NYSE. Now, what you can see that the NYSE did was it made this 1.272 butterfly pattern here. And that's the light blue area that we've got. And what also we had happen here is in this area, you can see this blue line and the red line. The blue line is a 50-day exponential moving average. The red line is the 200-day exponential moving average. When we crossed over that, that's something that is referred to as the death cross. Now, I don't use moving averages that much, but I do pay attention to them. I absolutely pay attention to them. Why should you pay attention to them? Because once you get below there, folks, that is a sheer signal that you have moved back into a bear market phase in the market. And that's absolutely where I believe that we're at right now. Now, we're playing a bounce here, and we'll see what type of bounce it is that we get. And today's going to be a very telling day for us. So we'll see what happens there. But what happened here, folks, is that, we had the market create this other Gartley sell pattern, which is really what Stephen was talking about. It made an ABC, and it came up, and it was a 0.707 retracement. But once we made that Gartley pattern, and H.M. Gartley taught us in his book to sell the first Gartley in a bear market, or even the first or the next bear market leg, and that's what we've moved into here, folks. And when you take a look at taking that Gartley pattern and the fact that we had that death cross, well, if I go ahead and I take this chart here, folks, and I start coming back, you'll see that that was the last time we saw any highs. That was in May of 2008, folks, and you can see how the market moved back down. Now, when the market moved back down, we made a Gartley pattern and then a butterfly into the March 9th. So kind of interesting how that happened, right? So let me pull you over to today. Let's take a look at on the NYSE where we're at today. Well, look at this. We've made a butterfly pattern, if you will. It's not a 1.272, but it's a 1.4. And right now, what I'm looking at is I'm looking for a Gartley pattern here, possibly to complete. I'd love to see this Gartley pattern complete. You can see how we've got into this death cross mode here as well. And so everything is pointing, just like if you believe that in the market here, that history can repeat itself, and that if you understand where you came from, it'll help you to understand where it is that you're going to, folks. You can learn so much about these markets. So again, looking for a bigger bounce than where we're at right here before we just simply go all in and go short. But that's why I want you to make sure that you're protecting yourself, because 70% of the listeners out there have got a majority of their money in a retirement program where they've got 4, 5, 6 boxes that they can check as far as which funds that they're in. And I want you to understand, some of you can go to cash a certain number of times a year. Some of you can do that at the end of the day. Some of you, it may be done quarterly. I want you to understand what actions you have to take to go to cash, because cash is an absolute position, folks. And what this is all about helping you to attain your wealth. And when we began the show, we talked about the importance of why is it that people aren't more wealthy than they are today. And so the real simple fact is, folks, what I want you to do is I want you to define your wealth. I don't want you to make it a moving target. I want you to define it in a way that is possible, a way that you believe that you can do it, folks, a way that is believable and is achievable. And folks, the most important thing, I want you to make it an absolute must. And if you need assistance, then help is on its way. Just go to TFNN. You can sign up for one of our newsletters. You've got them for 30 days. And I want you to do that, folks, because you've got an amazing power within yourself. And that power, folks, is so powerful. It can bring about miraculous outcomes. It can cure incurable diseases. But most importantly, folks, it'll make magnificent money masters. That's you, folks. Anyway, stay tuned. Tom and I will be up in just a few. Thanks for joining me, folks.
Yeah, it's always better when we're together.
Are you looking for some extra cash to help pay off some of your bills? Let Tiger Metal Exchange convert your unwanted jewelry to cash. We pay out 80% of the market price for gold. Our payouts are the highest in the industry, more than double our largest competitors. And we've created the safest, easiest, and most straightforward process for converting your jewelry to cash. Log on to TigerMetalExchange.com and get your free scale, your free eye loop, and get the cash you deserve now. We provide a free online calculator that converts your jewelry to cash at up-to-the-minute spot prices. We insure your items for up to $75,000 per shipment free of charge. We videotape the entire valuation process so that you can view it online. You can call us toll-free